In this video, I will be explaining mobile payment in China. What is it? How does it work? And can you get it when you travel to China? So first of all, let's explain how mobile payments came about. Chinese people, of course, were very used to using cash for payment, but nowadays, if you go, especially in the cities, you will see that nobody really uses cash in daily life anymore. They will all use their mobile phones. Now, the start of paying by mobile phones sort of came about in 2013, 2014, when there were two apps that were incorporating mobile payment. So one app was WeChat. You might know it as the very popular chat app with lots of functionality. And the other app was Alipay. Now, WeChat is a product by a company called Tencent, whereas Alipay is a product by a company that's now called Ant Group. And Ant Group was a spin-off from Alibaba, the big e-commerce company. So ever since 2013, 2014, they've been building up the market, as you can see here, and Tencent has roughly 40% market share with WeChat Pay, and Alipay has 55%. So, and like I said, in the big cities, 95% of the people will probably be paying through their mobile phone. If you go into the countryside where life is a bit different, you will find that they also still pay with mobile phones, but maybe a bit less because there's less opportunities. If you go to the cities, all of the restaurants are normally using mobile payment, but also things that you find in the street, for instance, like shared bikes. You scan a QR code, because that's how it works, scan QR codes of a bike, and you can ride that bike for a while. So, how does this actually work? Now, when you would go to China, maybe 5 years ago, people were sort of still asking each other, do you scan me or do I scan you, when they wanted to make a mobile payment. And that's basically the two versions of payment that you have. Let's start with the first one, scanning somebody else. If you want to make a mobile payment and someone wants to scan you, in most cases they will either have their QR code on a little display on the counter of their shop or their restaurant. They might even have printed out their own personal QR code and simply put that on the wall for you to scan if you want to make a payment. This is an example that I found in a very small noodle bar in, I think it was in Guizhou. So you scan that QR code. How do you do that? You simply open up the payment app, Alipay or WeChat, and you go to QR code scanning. And by scanning that QR code, you will be asked to then enter the amount you're supposed to pay and then approve that. And it will go from either your balance that you have in your digital wallet, or it will go from your bank account if you've linked it directly to a bank account and prefer to pay it that way. So that's one possibility. The other possibility is that they scan you. So that will mean that you will have to generate a barcode and or a QR code. And it really depends on the point of sales equipment of the other party, how they will scan you. But most of the apps, if you go into the app and you choose pay now or make a payment, you will get a screen that has a QR code and a barcode. Now, the person on the other side that is supposed to receive money from you will use their equipment to scan the barcode or scan the QR code. If they scan a barcode, they normally already have a barcode scanner. So you will find this a lot in supermarkets, because the supermarkets also scan all of the barcodes of the products when you check out. So in restaurants, they quite often have a QR code scanner, like a specific small type of equipment. And outside China, you also sometimes come across places where a lot of Chinese tourists go, and they use this specific device to scan a QR code. But basically, it works the same everywhere. You simply bring up your barcode and QR code, which can then be scanned by the other party, which then will bring up the amount that you're supposed to pay on the screen of your phone, and you can approve that. And again, it will go away from your balance. It will be subtracted from your balance or from your bank account. So that all sounds really, really cool, doesn't it? Now the question is, can you do that too in China? Yes and no. Well, both companies, Tencent with WeChat Pay and Ant Group with Alipay have said that you can link your credit card to these apps and make payments. But in real life, we found that there's lots of difficulties in actually getting that to work. There's lots of factors that depend on it. What's your bank? What's the credit card that you have? Do you have the Chinese version of WeChat, which is called Weixin? Or do you have the international version of WeChat, which is missing some of its functionality? And you have to go about all different ways to try to activate the digital wallet. But theoretically, these companies say that it's possible. The only thing that we can advise you to do is look for some recent information on the internet and do check the date of that information, because things change all the time. So again, do try this for yourself, but beware that you might run into these specific problems. Now that's the bad news, but the good news is, don't worry, you can still pay with cash everywhere in China. Legally, every merchant is required to accept cash as payment. They cannot legally, even though it happens sometimes, but they cannot legally reject cash. So do get your cash. When you go to China, we always advise people to, when they arrive at the airport, get something from an ATM so you have enough cash for a taxi and other payments. Take your credit card with you, but beware that credit cards can be accepted, for instance, in upscale restaurants and upscale hotels. But in regular businesses, smaller businesses in China, they don't really accept credit cards. So for Chinese people, mobile payment might be the thing, but for us, cash is still king. So do make sure that you have it on you when you're traveling in China. We hope this is all helpful, and we'd like to see you again for another video. Bye.